Welcome, everybody, to the Code of Shame Veterinary Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Randy Roark. Guys, I got a Vet Tech Week exclusive today. I love this episode. It makes me super happy. If you're a veterinary technician or a fan of veterinary technicians or an aspiring veterinary technician or a previous veterinary technician, are you ever not a vet technician after you've been one? I don't know. I think it's like being a scholar. I think you don't get to not be a scholar anymore. I think that you're always one once you were one. Anyway, if you're in those categories, you're going to like this episode. I am here with Vicky Ograin. Vicky is an RVT, a VTS, an MBA. I think there's probably other letters there as well. She is an incredible person. I'm not going to lay out her whole resume here because I lay out later on, but she is such a wonderful advocate for technicians. She is so involved in the technician profession, and she's so thoughtful, and she's a joy to speak to. So anyway, we have a fantastic discussion about the veterinary technician career, where veterinary technicians are today, the state of veterinary technicians, if you will, and then we get into some veterinary technician celebration because Vet Tech Week is here, and that's what we want to do. If you want to learn more about veterinary technicians, if you're a doctor and you're thinking, I wonder if I could get more out of my relationship with my technicians, or if you're here for Vet Tech Week and you're like, I want to feel good about being a veterinary technician, this is the episode for you. Guys, special thanks to Hill's Pet Nutrition for making this episode possible. Let's get into it.
This is your show. We're glad you're here. We want to help you in your veterinary career. Welcome to the Cone of Shame with Dr. Andy Roark.
Welcome to the podcast, Vicky Ograin. How are you, my friend?
I am great. How are you today?
I am thrilled. We're going to have a good day. I love talking to you. National Vet Tech Week is coming up. For those who do not know you, you have an alphabet soup behind your name. You are an RVT. You are a VTS, a veterinary technician specialist in nutrition. You also have your MBA. Yep. You are currently a scientific communications senior specialist at Hill's Pet Nutrition. You are a former president of NAVTA, which is the National Association of Veterinary Technicians in America, and you are a founding member of the Academy of Veterinary Nutrition Technicians. If I didn't know any better, I'd say you knew some stuff, and specifically stuff about technicians and nutrition. Is that fair?
I would say that's fair. Absolutely.
Yeah. How did you start down this path? Just you have had such an interesting career. You have explored vet medicine. You have been a lifelong learner. You've gotten different degrees and credentials. What inspired you to sort of have this sort of life of an explorer?
Yeah. So, I love to learn. And I honestly think being a vet tech, being a veterinarian, we need to be lifelong learners because, when I graduated from tech school, just a few years ago, I'm sure, there's been a lot of changes since I graduated. And so to me, that really instilled upon that I needed to keep learning, because if I didn't, I wouldn't know a lot of stuff. Honestly, I think that if we are out there and we're learning, and I love doing that, I love learning, but what I love even more is then sharing that knowledge with pet parents to help their pets. Because to me, that's what it's all about. It's really about helping the pet parent to make sure that they're making the right decision, particularly when it comes to nutrition. Let's be honest. That's something that technicians can be absolutely instrumental in helping a pet parent make a decision. But if I wasn't learning, if I wasn't advancing my knowledge, I wouldn't be able to have those conversations. And so being able to go to continuing education, I love going to AVCO meetings, learning more about regulations. But really what I'm doing when I go to those meetings is figuring out how then can I explain it to a veterinarian, a vet tech, to be able to help to their patients. Or when I'm talking to a pet parent, how can I help them?
That definitely makes sense. When you talk about, the opportunities for veterinary technicians around communication, that really speaks to me. And so one of my all-time favorite programs was the Hill's Nutritional Advocate Program, which was very much training for technicians and support staff around nutritional advocacy and education for pet owners. And I really loved that program, Vicky, because to me, it's a valuable service, right? When we talk about extending the lives of pets, the two real boring ways to make it happen are nutrition and dentistry, I think. And I think you can make a case for behavior. But when you talk about what are the things that you really do time after time, again and again, to try to extend the lifespan of pets, like those are the big ones. And I like to use my technicians. I like to leverage my technicians. I want the pet owners to trust my technicians. I'm always looking for ways to sort of utilize my technical support to make those things happen. And so anyway, the Nutritional Advocate Program really did a lot of that, and I felt like it was real guidance. And it was some growth, career growth that veterinary technicians could take advantage of, like in their hospital, in their practice, and really feel like they were contributing back to the team. And then it went away. And one of your big sort of initiatives has been you really sort of drove the charge in sort of bringing this back. And it sort of came back online last year. And I was really happy to see that. Tell me about that. What was the thing that sort of inspired you to say, I want to try to make this thing happen. I want to sort of bring it back?
When we discontinued it, we brought out our Hills Veterinary Academy, which has some really great CE in it. But what I really felt was the one place that was lacking in that was to have sort of a curated path.
Yeah.
To be able to say, this is what we really think. Start out with wellness nutrition. So do a few of these foundational modules, get that foundation, then start learning more about disease management. And we really didn't have that. And so I was very fortunate that they put me in a role where I not only am doing communication, but I'm in charge of our technician strategy. And so that allowed me the opportunity to go to my boss and the boss's boss, who are absolutely amazing veterinarians and are so supportive, to be able to tell them that I really felt that it was something that we should bring back, to have that curated path, to really allow someone to say, this is really, if I want to learn kind of some basics and a little more advanced, this would be a good path for me to take on. And Hills is amazing. Hills is so supportive of vet techs, which just makes me so proud to work for this company. And they listened to me and they're like, you're right. We need to bring this back. And so we did some work behind the scenes and we're able to curate the curriculum, so to speak, or the path that the technician and veterinarians and students, really it's open to everyone in the veterinary profession. Obviously, I sort of thought about it for vet techs, but honestly, anyone in the vet clinic, whether a vet assistant, CSR, the veterinarian, the students absolutely can go through this program. It's been so successful. So thank you so much for asking about it. It's been great.
I really like it. I know one of the things that sort of burns out technicians is this perception that there's no area or no room for them to advance. And that can be very true sometimes. And so this was something that it was convenient, it was accessible.
Yeah.
It gave them skills that they could actually implement and utilize in the practice. There's ways for them to support the patients that we see. And so I always like that a lot. Vicky, over the course of your career, how has the role of the veterinary technician changed?
Oh, it's changed a lot.
Talk to me about that. I want to talk about sort of what you've seen, and then I'm going to ask you some questions about where you think it's going.
Okay, absolutely. I mean, the thing that is just so amazing to me, and I think having been the president of NAFTA, was able to meet with AVMA, such an amazing group of veterinarians, so supportive of vet techs. And that really gave me my drive to say, we are a team. In the way, sort of my one thing that I always say is, I can't do my job without you, but you should not do your job without me. And so that really drives me to think about what are the opportunities that I can do to bring value to the clinic, to keep me motivated, because obviously we want to love our jobs, and boy, do I love my job. And so it really allowed me to kind of think that way and to go to the veterinarians that I work with and say, this is something that I think we should be doing. I'd like to do this. And so advocating for myself was, to me, it was extremely important that I'm advocating for myself, but in my mind, also other vet techs as well. Yeah. And so the amount of knowledge that we bring to the table, so keeping up that lifelong learning, but also putting myself out there, learning new skills, bringing new skills to the clinic, and ultimately helping patients, obviously what it's all about. But that's really what drives me to still be excited about this profession.
I'm sort of summarizing here but thinking about what I've seen in my career as well. That shift from the perception of the technician as, the assistant to the technician as the team member.
Yes.
Do you feel like that's sort of been the defining transition that we've seen?
Yes. And I think bringing the VTSs into it as well. So another career path for us. And there's only a little over 1,500 VTSs in the world. And so, yes, we bring that more advanced knowledge, but it allows, I think, the vet tech to have more of a career path. So I started as a vet assistant working in a clinic, then got my credentials, went to school, got my credentials, then got my VTS. So there are so many different career opportunities and career paths that we can accomplish, but then also working with the veterinarian, that we are the team, bringing those skills to the veterinarian, allowing you as the veterinarian to do what you were meant to do. So diagnose, prescribe, to do surgery, and then we support you on all of the other things. So making sure that your diagnoses get taken, and then having that communication piece with the pet parent, so that allows you to go to the next room or to go into surgery and do those important things. In my mind, if I wasn't there to help you do that, I would say back in the day, the veterinarian really did all the roles,
Yeah.
right? You had to take the dog in the back and take the blood and do the ear cleanings. But by me with my skills, my education, allowing me to do those things for you, that allows you to go on and to see more patients, help more patients, which is what it's all about, right? And that allows me to utilize my skills.
What do you think the existence of veterinary technician specialists has meant for non-veterinary technician specialists, for your regular RVTs, LVTs, CVTs?
It shows that it's possible. As a, RVT, working in a clinic and then going to work with Hills, emergency critical care started all of that. And I remember going to a conference and listening to a presentation about becoming a VTS, and then hearing a presentation from a VTS and saying, wow, I aspire to be that one day. Now, I was working in emergency critical care, so that wasn't a specialty. So when I heard that they were starting up a nutrition specialty, boy, my hand was up faster than I could raise my hand to say, I want to be part of this. And so we now have 16 specialties.
Yeah.
So, and some have subspecialties, so there's even more than 16. So there's different opportunities. And what I always say to anyone thinking about becoming a VTS, it's got to be your passion, but it also shows you that there's opportunities out there. And if one hasn't been formed, there's opportunities to maybe form a VTS. But there's so many. And honestly, it's been the greatest group of techs that I've ever had the privilege of being part of a group. We're just also supportive. We want to bring in more VTSs because as some of us start aging out, we need to bring in our newer technician colleagues. But to me, I think it shows there's an opportunity. And I think when I first started, there wasn't any such thing as a VTS, but we knew that there were boarded veterinarians. And so we knew that if a veterinarian wanted to elevate their profession, there was that opportunity. And there wasn't for vet techs. And so people like Harold Davis and Nancy Saffron and all those amazing people that had the vision to start up the VTSs, even though at that point I knew I couldn't apply for one, I was so excited for my profession that this was happening and that people would be able to elevate their profession. So I just think it's an amazing thing that we have.
When you think about veterinary practices today, right now, in the sort of this blossoming age of technology, what is the biggest opportunity that you see for vet practices around veterinary technicians right now?
Utilization, I think, is the biggest thing.
You still think that that's the number one area of opportunity?
I mean, obviously, some are going to think pay, right? And I think it's getting so much better. I mean, I hear about people making wages that I had never even thought was possible. So I think that's great. Could there still be better? Absolutely. That doesn't mean that all clinics, but then I'm sure there's veterinarians out there who think, so that I think is something we've always talked about.
I'm such an optimist. I'm like, surely we've made progress, right? Surely we've done, but I think when I stop and think about it, you're probably right. I think we've probably still got a long way to go as far as effective utilization.
Right.
And it's like the roadmap for that has been laid down, in my opinion. There's so many practices that are doing it well. It feels like the opportunity to improve what we're doing is right in front of a lot of practices.
I agree. And, I think we have to advocate for ourselves. So standing there waiting for someone to ask you to be utilized, we need to advocate for ourselves. And I don't know that we do a good job with that. When I was in practice, I took the Hills program. As you mentioned, we used to have it. And then I went to the owner and said, I'm really passionate about nutrition. And I did this program, this nutritional counselor program. I'd like to be the nutritional counselor for the practice. Yeah. And I'm business-wise, I'm going to bring you in some revenue. And the veterinarian was like, oh, I heard what I wanted to hear. You're going to bring in revenue. You seem passionate and excited about that. That's going to keep you happy in my practice. Let's go ahead and try it. Let's do a pilot. What could it hurt, right? And I ended up being that go-to person in the clinic that was the nutritional advocate and set me up for ending up to work for Hills when it got to the point where I just wasn't able to be in practice anymore. So to me, I think we need to advocate for ourselves. And what is your passion? bring that to the clinic. Is that something you can review? If you love dentistry, could we do things a little bit better? Could you do some dental CE? If you're passionate about nutrition like I am, go to CE, learn about different things, and then bring those services to the clinic so that, yes, you're being utilized, but you're also advocating for yourself. And I think that's so important because, what I found out when I first started, I thought things were just going to be handed to me, and that's not truly what happened in my practice. Now,
Yeah.
it may be for others, and that's amazing, but if it's not, we need to advocate for ourselves. And so make those things happen.
Vicky, you're such a positive person. I think I probably know about where you land on this next question, but I want to ask you, when I see technicians talking online and start talking about the state of the profession for technicians, there's a spectrum of perspectives that I see.
Yeah.
And so at one end of the spectrum are people who go, look how far we have come. And the other end of the spectrum, I see people saying, look how far we need to go. And those people are wary about talking too much about the progress we've made because they don't want to undermine the potential to move forward into the future. If I assign just a number value, and this is not good or bad, but let's just say that look how far we've come as a 1 and look how far we need to go as a 10, where are you on that spectrum, Vicky?
I think optimistically 3 or 4.
A 4? Okay.
There's a lot of great things that we've done. Is there more that could be done? But that's, I think, in any profession. But when I look at when I graduated and where we are today, I feel that we really have come, and particularly of the last few years, we really have elevated technicians, the VTSs, absolutely. I think, and I don't know that we're ever going to be a 1. I don't know that any profession's ever going to be a 1.
Just put the
Right.
mission accomplished banner up and,
Right,
and
yeah.
strike up the band. Yeah, I think you're right. I think
Yeah,
that's true.
because that's just, and particularly when you think about the fact that we're in veterinary medicine, it's science. Things are always changing.
Yeah.
So you never could even say veterinary medicine is ever going to be a 1, right? Because some new disease or some new surgical procedure or some new amazing innovation in nutrition is going to be found, and we're going to say, but we don't want it because we're at a 1. So I don't think we should ever say that.
Right,
We always need to have a little bit of that wiggle room to be able to say, oh, we have this new nutritional innovation.
Yeah.
Let's take that on, right?
It's good to be a little bit unsatisfied. isn't it?
little
Yeah, just a little.
And I
just
don't know
a little
that I
bit.
would say unsatisfied as much as I would say open to new,
Yeah,
right?
I like that a lot. When you think about the state of sort of veterinary technicians in practice, Vicky, what are you afraid of?
I think what I'm afraid of is that there's a person out there that is at a clinic and doesn't feel that they're being valued or being, utilized well. And they, in their minds, are thinking, I'm burned out on this profession. I'm going to leave this profession. The skills that we acquire in tech school, we're highly skilled. We're highly motivated. We want to help our patients. And so that scares me. And it's funny because I've been on a lot of those, social media websites as well, and also gone to lectures about like burnout and stuff. And it took me a long time to realize I've never been burned out on this profession. And I never want to leave this profession. The particular clinic I was at wasn't the right clinic for me. That doesn't mean that necessarily what they were doing was wrong for them, but for me, it just wasn't the right place for me to be at anymore. And so I made the difficult decision to leave. And I'm not telling anyone out there that they have to leave their clinic. But for me, I still loved working with the pets. I loved doing nutritional consults. I love seeing, when someone come back and say, oh gosh, my pet lost weight and you helped, and to be part of that. So I think we need to kind of look back and kind of think, again, is it we're not advocating for ourselves enough? Are we not speaking up? We're a very shy profession. And so sometimes, and I was like that when I first started, I was very shy, believe it or not. And so I kind of sat back and just kind of allowed the clinic to kind of wave over me until I realized one day, wait a minute, I love this clinic. I love what we're doing, but I need to step up and I need to advocate. Now, if you do all that and the clinic's like, no, we're not going to allow you, well, then some decisions need to be made. But please don't think you're burned out on the profession.
Yeah.
You're burned out on the situation.
That's excellent. I think that's excellent insight. Vicky, National Veterinary Technician Week is coming up. Hills is the exclusive NAVTA sponsor of Vet Tech Week.
Yeah.
When you think about what the most wonderful Vet Tech Week ever would look like, if I came to you in the future and said, Vicky, this year, 2025 Vet Tech Week, it was the greatest success that we've ever seen. What does that look like to you? What is success in Vet Tech Week in your eyes?
So I know this may sound simple, but to me, I want all the vet techs out there to feel appreciated and to feel that this is their, whatever your happiness is. So for me, Christmas, I always think of Christmas. That may not be for everyone, right?
Sure.
But I've always thought as Vet Tech Week is my week of Christmas, right? Because you're with loved ones, you're having good meals, you are getting presents, but you're also feeling appreciated. And so that is, to me, yes, the food is great, the gifts are great, but to me, I want that appreciation. And that's something that I get from my boss, and who is a veterinarian. She's a board veterinary nutritionist, Dr. Ruggiero, just to call her out. She's amazing. And I have never felt so appreciated, so seen, so treated as a colleague. And that, to me, is what it's all about. And so for me, I'm lucky. Vet Tech Week is kind of every day when I'm working with my boss, with Dr. Ruggiero. But to me, that's what I kind of think of for Vet Tech Week, is that, take a little time out of your day to just sort of acknowledge and appreciate. Yes, we get that appreciation all year round. Certainly so do veterinarians, as you should. But to me, it's that week to kind of stop and just sort of focus on the vet techs and for all the knowledge and skills and the hard work and all the things that we bring to the table that really allow that veterinary clinic to thrive, and then to go back to help our patients. Because to me, that's what it's all about.
Yeah. Vicky Ograin, you are so wonderful, and you are such an excellent champion for veterinary technicians, and I'm so happy that you came to talk to me today. Where can people find you online if people say, I want to hear more from Vicky, this is the type of positivity and perspective I need in my life? Where can they find you?
I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. I'm not so much of the TikTok world. I look at it a little bit, but I'm not so much on TikTok. But absolutely LinkedIn. Happy to have you join and accept your request, friendship. I don't know what you call it on LinkedIn, but yeah, absolutely.
Well, I'll put a link to your LinkedIn in the show notes. Vicky, Hills has a wonderful collection of education for veterinary technicians. What are some of your favorite sort of resources that Hills has? And then where do people go to learn more about that?
I would be remiss to say VNA. I mean, that to me is my favorite. I just absolutely love that program and really championed it, to bring it back. So that's on the Hills Veterinary Academy. And certainly there's a direct link to the VNA program. I think the other thing that I really love is our Hills Global Symposium that will be broadcast on our HVA platform. So you can find them on HVA as well. And I'm so excited this year. I'm going to be a speaker at our Global Symposium that will be aired after Vet Tech Week. So it's in October, but a little bit after Vet Tech Week. And so I encourage everyone to come and listen to it. And then it will be on demand as well. I'll be talking about senior, that life stage, and, what we can do for those healthy and pets that maybe, have some medical issues. I'm so excited. I'm such an honor and a privilege to have been asked. It's a global platform to be able to talk about my two favorite subjects, nutrition and senior pets, because that's really that life stage when we need to really, honor them and give them the care that they need.
Well, I will put links to all of that.
Awesome.
So I got to speak one time at the Hills Global Symposium, and it is an absolutely incredible event, and they just did such a good job with it, and they just went so hard. And the fact that it streamed all over the world, and the number of people who were joining, it's such a great event.
It's a little daunting.
Anyway, don't think too much about it. Don't think too much about it. But I will tell you, it's pretty incredible. Yeah. All right, Vicky, thanks again for being here. Guys, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Take care of yourselves, gang. I'll talk to you later.
Absolutely. Happy Vet Tech Week. Take care of yourself and enjoy the week.
And that's what I got. Guys, thanks for being here. Thanks to Vicky for being here. Thanks again to Hills Pet Nutrition for making this episode possible. Take care of yourselves, everybody. I'll talk to you later on.